Julia, or should that be Dr. Julia, is at the tell-all looking to help other cast members.
What is in the future for you guys? Is like you have some...
We haven't really had a sit-down conversation
like
about
therapy. Julia's sitting here.
But that's okay, because I like to be...
You can call me Dr. Julia.
But for as noble as this might appear, shouldn't she first focus on getting her own house in order? Like, with all the secrecy and animosity surrounding her and Brandon and their families at the moment, you'd be forgiven for not necessarily wanting to take her advice.
I have a high-risk pregnancy right now, and even my parents doesn't know, Brandon's parents doesn't know, and I will be sharing, but in this moment, I feel like it's not right time.
And as it turns out, Julia isn't the only one who feels confused or is struggling to communicate her feelings clearly. Or, for that matter, she's not the only one to feel the pressure or the tension mounting.
We are not fighting enough for the relationship.
You speak for yourself.
So let's rewind to the start and quickly run through what happened on the rest of the tell-all. Of course, I've got the two main storylines on this week's Part 1 tell-all covered in separate videos, which I'll link to if you've missed them. But as for the others, how's Julia's pregnancy going? And do Darcey and Georgi still see a future together? What about Kara and Guillermo? Will they be able to work things out? Well, let's kick off proceedings with Brandon and Julia, when the pair of them arrived at the house where all the cast will be staying. Brandon had a question, a very important question, that he wants clarification on.
So are we telling people about pregnancy?
You're not gonna tell anybody. Did I look 6 months?
No.
Exactly.
Nope. So as she shared the last time we saw her, Julia has a high-risk pregnancy which is stressing her out. Like, that's completely understandable. But what it means is she's now 6 months pregnant without anyone knowing. The only people that they've shared the news with so far are their closest friends, the child's godparents. But that's it, no one else, not even her parents or Brandon's parents yet. Now, Brandon, as we're aware, would love to celebrate this news that he's been waiting for years. But he also doesn't want to go against Julia's wishes and add to her stress. Problem is, of course, at 6 months already, it's going to get harder and harder for her to hide this pregnancy for much longer. Which, when we join them the next day at the studio, is starting to become more and more apparent. Yeah, here she is telling Yara that it's all plastic surgery, but of course that's a lie. I just wonder whether or not Yara bought it. Now, Julia explains that besides being a high-risk pregnancy, sharing the news with other people is also hard for her because of her background. Russian people, she explains, are superstitious. Telling people about our happy news almost feels like tempting fate.
In Russia, we have superstition. We believing people are not always wish you good luck. And it's hard to talking about this. My life is changing forever and it's caused a lot of stress.
She might be trying to make it sound as if this is almost normal in Russia, but I'd suggest hiding it for this length of time from even her nearest and dearest loved ones, people that will be happy for her, is a bit extreme, superstitious or not. Now, just trying to understand her perspective here slightly. While she might try to present superstition as her logic, I get the sense that there's more to it than that. It feels to me like she's trying to retain some semblance of control or power over a process that's otherwise completely out of her hands. Think about it like this. By actively choosing to refrain from telling anyone, that's an active decision that's in her hands. She's the one calling the shots. But as for everything else in this high-risk pregnancy, well, she has no control. It's just a matter of waiting and hoping. So it's almost as if clinging onto the one thing that she can do makes her feel less helpless, gives her a sense of power. Now, when they get to the stage, the very first question that Sean asks Brandon and Julia is a generic, "How are you guys?" And Julia's response to that within seconds sees her direct conversation immediately to her fertility journey. And then, as a result, she becomes quite emotional.
Our fertility journey. It's hard, but I'm feeling good. So, and every time I'm going to talk,
She can't even finish her thoughts because she becomes so overwhelmed. Julia tells Sean that she has to mentally prepare herself to talk about this. So with that, feeling clearly very overwhelmed, she walks off stage. The tell-all may have only just begun, we're only seconds into the studio segment, but I think it's just dawned on Julia that she can't avoid talking about this anymore, and that terrifies her.
I have a high-risk pregnancy right now, and even my parents doesn't know, grandparents doesn't know, and I will be sharing, but in this moment I feel like it's not the right time.
Now, Julia does eventually rejoin the cast, but for now, she's off the hook. Conversation has moved on to other matters. It's going to be interesting to see how things play out when their segment starts next time, and of course when Julia comes face to face with Brandon's parents. Now, moving on to another couple. As you no doubt recall, Kara and Guillermo, amongst a lot of shouting and screaming at each other, split up mid-season. So it's no surprise that Guillermo arrives at the tell-all house alone.
It's kind of weird to arrive not having Kara with me. We're still separated, so it's gonna be weird.
For this tell-all, we might be made to live under the same roof, Guillermo says, but we certainly won't be sharing a bed together. Now, when Kara eventually arrives, Guillermo is in the pool, and when she joins everyone, despite being estranged from each other, their relationship seems to be in a fairly good place. I mean, they're playful with each other. She even jokingly introduces herself to him.
Hi, pleasure's all mine. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Are you guys friends?
What do you call it? We're cordial.
That seems a bit more than just cordial to me. Now, over the course of the season, we saw them accuse each other of cheating, fighting about it, and then eventually breaking up. But, judging by what we've seen so far today, they seem like they're in a much, much better place, at least for the moment. Now, later on that evening, after the madness of Gino and Jasmine's fight, Kara, speaking privately with Guillermo, compliments him and tells him how proud she is of them both.
I'm so proud that I had a baby with someone that is a good human, you know?
There's something about these two, the way they're interacting with each other, looking at each other, talking to each other, that doesn't exactly scream, we're done. It definitely feels like there's still love there between them, doesn't it? Which may well explain why the next day, at the studio, they seem to stick to each other, and not just that. Guillermo even attempts to try and flirt a little bit.
How you doing?
Stop. Don't touch my arm like that.
Why not?
Just a little out of character.
It could be so good if we could be back together.
Yeah, I definitely don't think this is over. It doesn't feel to me like they've completely closed the door on their marriage. But, on this instance, unfortunately for Guillermo, his playful, flirty attitude doesn't quite get his desired result. Instead of putting Kara at ease, it seems to put her guard up. She seems nervous. And what he says next doesn't exactly help.
We are not fighting enough for the relationship.
You speak for yourself.
And with that, Kara closes off again. It's like Guillermo just reminded her of why exactly they broke up. Don't forget, in the past, she said that she felt like he wasn't making enough effort to fight for their marriage. So saying this, having this conversation now, has probably brought back up all of those feelings. And something tells me, having to now go on stage and discuss everything that happened between them also isn't going to help. But putting them to one side for now, let's go back to the last couple that we've yet to cover for this week's tell-all, Darcey and Georgi. Now, we pick up with them as they arrive at the house. They arrive together. So where does that leave their marriage? Are they still together after their last big fight?
Georgi and I are in a very weird place since Bulgaria because he dropped the bomb on me that he might want to have kids one day. And this tell-all has got me very nervous.
So not much has changed since the last time we saw them. They're still in this limbo where they know they might not be compatible, but they've yet to figure out how to move forward. Now, again, like Guillermo and Kara, knowing that they're going to have to talk about all of this, confront it all on stage in front of everyone, makes Darcey nervous. But she also hopes that some of the other couples might be able to help them. And that is where Dr. Julia steps in.
What is in the future for you guys? Is like you have some...
We haven't really had a sit-down
I feel like we're
conversation
in
about
therapy. Julia's sitting here.
But that's okay, because I like to be...
You can call me Dr. Julia.
This, in a funny kind of way, may actually be exactly what Darcey and Georgi need. Like, having a third party here that isn't Stacey might finally help them to actually listen to one another. We all know, when they're on their own, they can't communicate effectively. Like, one of them ends up screaming and shouting, and inevitably the other walks off. So perhaps having someone there to just calm them both down might produce better results. But, unfortunately, not all cast interactions are helpful. You see, later on in the pool, as Jasmine struggles to swim, Georgi offers her a drink.
Be careful. Next time let me open marriage with Georgi.
Hey, you better watch.
That would end in divorce quick.
My type is more Darcey.
Look, they are all joking around, so it isn't that serious. But when a relationship is as fragile as Darcey and Georgi's is, jokes like that aren't exactly helpful. They might blow up in your face. Now, luckily, this one lands okay. It doesn't cause Darcey to overreact. They all continue to have fun together. And anyway, Georgi isn't the only one to get up close and personal with another cast member. Darcey's at it too.
Mama.
I
Turkey.
Sorry, my hands are cold.
They're bouncy.
That's what I want.
Bouncy boobs.
Judging by Georgi's face, he doesn't mind that interaction either. They're all clearly having fun, the alcohol no doubt is playing a role here. But at this point at least, everything is light-hearted. Although the next day, when we join them all at the studio, everything suddenly gets a lot more tense. You see, when the spotlight falls on Darcey and Georgi, when Sean asks them how they're doing, it's immediately clear that they're in a bad place, as usual.
There's a lot of things I needed to learn about him. I'm in it to win it with you. It's been tough. I just want a little more transparency and openness from him.
Now, we're going to learn all about that next week. But for now, it's clear to see that they're struggling to stay together as hard as Darcey's dress is struggling to keep her in. Let's hope, for Darcey's sake and ours, that the dress pulls through, even if her marriage doesn't.